Hi everybody, Jared here with Day Traders FX. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, and we're just at the beginning of it. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend, got some good rest. I sure did, but I am excited to get back to the markets. There's lots and lots of good setups and good things to look at. First thing I want to look at here real quick, U.S. markets pretty slow. Oil finally back below $90. It's about time. Gold flat for the day, Dow and S&P pretty flat for the day, nothing too exciting there. A couple of things to note that will be of major importance. We're looking at the Aussie dollar, Aussie yen pairs. Lots of movement there. We have retail sales coming out in the next several hours. Probably not going to be a huge mover. It can be, but I think it's going to be hugely trumped by the interest rate announcement, which is expected to remain unchanged, and it may or may not change. But what we're more concerned about is the rate statement, what the Bank of Australia, the Royal Bank of Australia, has to say about what they might be doing in the coming months, in the coming year, with interest rates and so on. So that's going to be a big thing to watch this afternoon, so keep an eye on that. And then just real quickly, looking at this week, it is a crazy big week with news. You can see that Tuesday, announcements for Australia, US, UK, Europe. Wednesday, we have ADP reports. We have just tons of news coming out. We have more Bank of Japan stuff coming out on Wednesday. Thursday, we have interest rate announcements for the UK and Europe, along with trade balance, just tons. You can just see it. These are just the red announcements, the high impact. And then we top off Friday with non-farm payroll for US and Canada. So good grief, we have a big week ahead of us. But let's just take it slow and easy here and see what we have starting off in the euro dollar currently. Okay, so what the euro dollar has done, we've talked about this quite a bit here, and this is the euro dollar kind of stalled out right around this 130, kind of 129.95, 130 area right here. That's the low of December, or excuse me, the low of January, and really kind of just found a lot of support right there, and we've just tipped down just a little bit lower to about 129.65, and we're just kind of staying right there. But you can see that we're kind of in the lower part of this channel, but still, middle to lower part. There's still room to run down. Likewise, there's room to run up as well. So what we need to look for is what this euro might be up to. Are we going to see a further slide on the euro? I would say very possibly. But here are a couple of things to note. First off, we have our Friday high. Remember, always watch Friday highs and Friday lows. And this happens to be the Friday low, 129.65. So a break of that, I get very interested in continuing to short this pair. And our Friday high is a little ways away, so I'm not looking at that one so intently. But what I am looking at is our weekly pivot. We have a missed weekly pivot here at 130.80. 130.80. And that is currently 75 pips from current market price. So what I'm going to be looking at is this little wedge that's forming right here. I'm going to be watching for this to break out one direction or another. If we break this lower channel right here, I think we might have a good opportunity to trade this, probably through this 129.65 and so on area. And I'll be watching for that, but I'm kind of more interested in breaking this descending trend line right here and getting a run up into the missed weekly pivot and potentially as high as the 200 moving average right here, which is also a very crucial level right around 131.50, 131.45.50. That's a big resistance level, and I would definitely short off that if we reach that sooner or later, like in the next 24 hours. I'll definitely be shorting off that. But I think we have a little opportunity just to trade a break up into this missed weekly pivot point. Like I said, it's about 75 pips, and that's kind of what I'm looking for mostly right now. But I will watch this ascending trend line. If we get a break of that, I'll be looking for entries and looking for a break of 129.65. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on that pair. Pound dollar, we talked about this in our live UK session last night. We talked a little bit about how we've got a couple of levels and a couple of setups in the works, and what I was looking for is this 150.80, which was the low of last week, and I said if we get a reversal candle as the market approaches this level, then I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to short off of that. Well, we didn't get any kind of reversal candles. This thing just was bullish candles all the way up, and we definitely want to see those reversal candles. So again, just kind of bullish all the way up. and has opened above this level. So we talked about a break above this will very likely take this pair into the 200-day moving average and kind of into this general region right here. So that 200 moving average is all the way up here, like around 151.80, and that puts it near the high of the week, which is 152.15. So for the most part, I'm just kind of watching and I'm waiting to see where this goes. I'm looking for opportunities to short this pair a little bit higher, up towards the 200 moving average, up towards the weekly highs. But don't don't discount some of these lower levels or lower time frames that we'll get to in just a moment. But just a quick little look at everything that we see on these daily and 4-hour charts. It's a very, very bearish picture. Definitely due for a little bit of retracement, a little bit of recovery. You can see the 4-hour chart. We're crazy far away from the 200 moving average there. But one thing that I'll kind of be looking at as well is some of these shorter time frames, watching for trend line breaks to see if we can kind of, get into some of this stuff right here. And kind of trade this stuff on down as we start to encounter weakness in these upper areas is what I'll be definitely looking for. So that's kind of just where I am. It's a little bit of a wait and see here on this pound dollar, but some trend lines and a little bit of a run higher. Okay, quickly on to the Aussie dollar. Again, there's not much we can do with the Aussie dollar right now because of the important news we have coming up. But again, we're sitting right at the weekly lows of last week and our Friday lows as well, which is around 101.80. A lot of 80s. I think the euro's at 80 something, and the pound's at 150.80, and here we have the Aussie dollar at 101.80 here. And you can see that a break above this will probably take this into the missed weekly pivot point as well, which is only about 40-50 pips up there. It's about 102.25-ish area. So if we get a break for that, we should have a little 40 to 50 pip run up into that 200 moving average, up into that missed weekly pivot, and so on. That's what I'll be looking for. Otherwise, I'm going to be watching for this thing to kind of just bounce off resistance here, bounce off the 200 moving average, and break and start heading lower. Now, again, we have to wait and see how the news comes out. We have central bank news, we have retail sales, a couple of big reports here. So just watch these levels. 101.80, a break above probably takes us to that weekly pivot. A break below this trend line takes us back down towards parity to the 1-to-1 area. So keep an eye on that. And along those lines, with the Aussie dollar, we have the Aussie yen, which is it's kind of in a choppy situation here. It's a little bit messy looking, but you can see that we're kind of bouncing around right here. It's just kind of bouncing around the 200 moving average. We've already touched the weekly pivot, so that's out of the way. So what I'm looking for ultimately is a break below this 94.40 area. So if we get below 94.40, I think things start to get pretty interesting for the downside. We have a possibility of testing these lows, which are 125 pips back here. So I like that quite a bit. And you can see that we have a nice little ascending trend line that's been tested a couple of times. So we get a break of that trend line. I'm going to start looking for entries, and I will confirm that entry in that short position as we get below the 94.40. So I'll probably be looking for an entry if we break below this trend line, and then I'll stay in it as we get below 94.40. And that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for on that pair for right now. Remember that our 23% fib is at 93.20 here, and if we get an open below that, we have a high likelihood of reaching the 38%, which is around 270 pips away. So a very nice little run down there, and we'll have a little bit more on that. But these are the setups I'm looking for right now. Remember, Australian news coming up, and remember, we have daily sessions every day, 4 a.m. Pacific / 12 noon. We do our U.S. sessions, and we do a wrap-up session every day at 4 p.m. Pacific / 12 midnight UK. And you can see that in the chat. You can get a free trial for that if you're interested in giving us a test drive at daytradersfx.com. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the chat.